All right, so last night I went to bed with certain thoughts inside of my melon. And one of those thoughts was thinking about a video that, according to Nicole, made last week about how everything seems like a scam, whether it's education, your job, your life, whether or not you're ever going to be able to own a home. And it's all centered around one thing: capitalism. So in this dream, it was very vivid, extremely vivid. And there was all these women around me, and I became some sort of cult leader. And I was a cult leader for a couple of days. I guess I would say it was the weekend, and then told them I had to go back to my 9 to 5 job, in which they all turned on me and started throwing wads of money at me. And that's how the dream ended. Me walking with some person that had also left the cult with me. We're walking down this spillway trying to find a place where we can call a cab or take a bus back to our regular lives. But it reminded me so much of how hard you have to believe in capitalism as a person that will never be able to participate in it because your minimum wage job will never allow it. All right, let's get into our first part of this video. Remember, all of this was created based on the dream by ChatGPT. So these are ChatGPT's thoughts on how to interpret it. I never used my actual information to make any of these videos. It's all ChatGPT. Last night I had a dream that shook me to my core. Not a nightmare, but a revelation. In the dream, I was a cult leader preaching the gospel of hard work and success, only to realize I was just recycling the same lies capitalism feeds all of us. Everyone in the crowd was chanting. Everyone in the crowd was chasing a fantasy I didn't even believe in anymore, cheering for a future that doesn't exist. And when I woke up, I knew one thing: the chains we wear are dressed up like ambition, but they're still chains. That's the thing that I like to tell people all the time. People who will come up to me with a little American flag and wave it at me while they're working at Taco Bell and living in a cardboard box. Because it doesn't matter how much you want the American dream, there are certain portions of this country, large portions of this country, that are just entirely poor communities that have no possibility of upward mobility. But even those people want to believe in this dream. They're drinking the Kool-Aid because giving up hope entirely means, what do they have to live for? You got to cope, or you have to hope, or we know what the last answer to dealing with this reality is. There are no other answers. And the fact that there aren't more statistics about why there's a 988 number in front of you in a parking lot in a random shopping center speaks volumes. What kind of program had to be instituted to put 988 on a placard when you're parking to go buy groceries inside of a Kroger's food store, or yet a Whole Foods that went out of business 7 years ago? All right, talking point number one: hard work is marketed as a golden ticket, but the system's rigged. Most wealth is inherited, gate kept, or tied to systemic privilege, not grind set or moral value. The dream exposes how we're sold a fantasy of success while the path to it's deliberately booby trapped. Well, I would say that's pretty much true. There's a certain amount of mindset in our country that wants you to believe that all you have to do is work harder for your current employer. Your current employer doesn't care about your dreams. Your current employer doesn't care if you have enough money to eat. Your current employer knows one thing: the cost of living and what they pay you are not compatible. and they simply don't care. That's why the food stamp program exists. That's why Section 8 housing exists. And that's why you have a bus pass instead of a car. And that's also why when you go into a job interview, they try to make certain that they don't hire you if you don't meet the minimum requirements. Telling a potential employee that they must have reliable transportation without implying that you must have a car is it's almost like a bad omen about what is going to be expected of you, because they need you to be able to show up to work at a certain level. They need you to be able to have enough experience, 3 to 5 years of experience, a college degree, and a team player attitude. If they can't get those things out of you right away, you're not going to be successful in that corporation. And I would say that most Gen Z applicants can't make it to any of that criteria. They don't have the years of experience, they don't have that attitude, and they most often are not going to believe in your dream for your corporation, so that only the privileged can be successful while everyone else is sacrificed. Talking point number 2: capitalism doesn't need loyalty, it needs belief. From rise and grind to the side hustles that barely break even, people cling to overwork like it's salvation. But just like a cult, the cost is your time, your sanity, and your soul. And the only ones cashing in are the people at the top. Think of this: small business owner, razor thin profit margins, and he needs people to work for him. Case in point, you're a farmer right now. All your workers are gone. They've all been taken away to a better place. Now you're sitting at your farm and you're looking at all of your inventory that is rotting in the fields because no one will work for you. Because the conditions that you created for the people that you needed, well, that environment that you created isn't going to attract Gen Z. Gen Z's not attracted to your low wages, hard work, lack of benefits, and seasonal work. But Gen Z also knows this. This is the thing that Gen Z knows better than any other generation before it. Stability in the workplace is long gone. There is no loyalty from your employer. Therefore, there's no loyalty from you to your employer. And that meant that the only people that would work that job for that farmer are those people who couldn't. Those desperation workers that were willing to take any conditions. And you're talking the most brutal conditions. But just like them, the large corporations have taken that mentality as well. Unpaid overtime, working late, making you exempt, and expecting you to work 60 to 80 hours per week for one low wage. In fact, the other day, one of my coworkers looked at me and he's like, I was just in this meeting and all those people look like they were just absolutely done. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Everyone at work is in burnout mode. Every single one of them. And when you look at your coworkers and they're living with their parents in their 40s because they don't make enough, or you've just recently moved into a garage because you don't make enough, but you're working full time, it goes to show that the people cashing in at the top, they're more than willing to sacrifice the entire 99% to make certain that only one class of people has real jobs. And those people aren't working hard. Those people aren't working in the meat packing industry or working construction in this relentless heat. They're the people at the tippy top just wondering, they're the kind of people that will come down and flick a battery that's not giving its full charge. Maximum effort for minimum wage. Talking point number 3: motivational content, financial gurus, corporate branding, all profit off your desperation. When survival is reframed as ambition, people become easier to exploit. Your dream becomes someone else's revenue stream, and the moment you stop believing, the whole illusion starts to crack. I get this feeling every week when we get the corporate wellness letter, and it is full of ways in order to mitigate stress, stop burnout, and make certain that you're in your Zen place every day, while at the same time, you don't know what you're doing. You've got so and so and so and so shoulder tapping. You've got a million other things to do before lunch. You come back from lunch and there's more emergencies. You're driving in your car to go pick up something, and in the middle of that trip, you get a call from someone else who says, I've got a person who's escalating and escalating and escalating this request because they want this because of some boneheaded idea. And you're juggling all of this. And at any given moment, whether it's night, day, weekend, holiday, you're expected to be there. I'm going to be at work at 8 a.m. today because I got a lot of work to do this weekend. So I'm going to try to schedule my chores around work. So today it's going to be about 3 hours. Then I got to go to the salon. Then I'm going to do another 3 hours and go to the gym. Then I'm going to come back, do maybe another couple of hours. And then after that, I got to take someone to the shoe store. After that, hopefully get home at a decent hour, have some drinks, wake up again at 6 o'clock in the morning like I did today. And then the grind again, gym at 8 o'clock, work, appointment again, another appointment that I have up the street. That's going to be another probably an hour and a half. Then go back to work, do another few hours, and then at 2 o'clock, go to the gym, and then go back to work. Somehow I'm going to have to fit that work in between my busy weekend schedule, because if I can't get it done, it's not going to get done. And unfortunately, there's no one else. That's really what it comes down to, is there's no one else. And when you're put in a situation where you already have a regular job, but you don't have a regular job. Most of us that are out here are doing 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs. And you would think that a person that works that hard, according to grind culture, would be a person that was very financially successful. But you're not. And no matter how hard you work, you can't work yourself out of a bad job. It's part of the way that this system was built. The harder you work, the richer they get. All right, let's see what ChatGPT made for my conclusion today. Capitalism doesn't need to beat you. It just needs you to keep believing. But once you stop chasing gold that was never meant for you, you start seeing the system for what it really is: a cult, a scam, a beautiful package trap. My dream showed me the truth, and now I can't unsee it. So the question is, are you still dreaming, or are you finally awake? One of the main points of this entire channel is waking up more people out there in society. Waking up to tell you that things aren't going to get better. This system doesn't work because it's going to get better. This system works because it's supposed to get worse. You're supposed to not have benefits. You're supposed to not take vacations. Leisure is for the rich. The poor either sit at home when they have a day off, or they go and work another job. I have to work on doing this. I have to get at least 3 to 4 videos up this weekend. That means on top of everything else that I told you guys, I still have to work at Evil Corp and work for myself, because this is all poor people do. We were never meant to enjoy our lives. We're meant to work every second of the day in order for survival. Because I'll tell you this, I'm not thriving. I scrape and scrape and scrape. I had ramen for breakfast this morning, and I'll probably have ramen for breakfast tomorrow. It is what it is. There just isn't enough money so that people can enjoy their lives. And there isn't enough time. If you're constantly hustling for another buck, what time do you have? I mean, I talk to people at work who DoorDash on the weekend, who do driving jobs on the weekend. And it's like when they come back to work on Monday, they've never stopped working. The weekend has no more meaning in a society that's gotten this expensive for the working class people. Jennifer C., I mean, the ultimate example. Monday through Friday, 8 hours at a restaurant. Saturday and Sunday, noon to 8, driving for Uber Eats or Grubhub or whatever. She's driving 8 hours, 7 days a week. And there are people that are even worse off than that. Then they have their side gigs that they're working on when they come home from work. For me, that's what it is every night. Every morning I try to get up early to start working on my channel. And when I get home in the evening, and if I'm not completely crushed, if my soul isn't totally destroyed by Evil Corp, I'll try to work on something so I can get caught up. So on days in which I'm too wrecked or stressed out or panicking, that I can continue to make more videos on those days. But I'll tell you what, this past week, there was no lunchtime this week. It was nonstop. From the moment I got there to 5 o'clock, it was nonstop all day long. I was working with one of my coworkers this week who showed up to help me do some stuff, and like he showed up and we just worked. And yesterday I had to work even more, and it's ridiculous. And it shows no signs of slowing down. The dollar that we make every day has less value, and the lower the value of the income that we have, the more we have to work in order to compensate for that lack.